Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Spiritual Journey TV. I'm a host, or your host, Thomas Knights Templar. This is the other host.
Mary Silvernail. Thank you for tuning in again.
You want to introduce her?
Of course. And here's one of our guests, Christine Schiavone. Thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure.
And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, I'm Christine Schiavone. I host and produce the show Spiritual Exploration, and I've been doing it for 25 years. Just had the 25th anniversary, and it was very nice. I can't believe 25 years has gone by. Anyway, though,
I know, I keep on looking at him, he got old.
You can see my show if on Spectrum and Amazon,
Fios.
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 On Fios.
And YouTube.
Fios channel 35, Spectrum channel 79, Friday night 10:30. Also, if you want, there's a whole lot of other shows that are on at YouTube. You go to Spiritual Exploration at YouTube, and you'll be able to see a good 150 shows over 25 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
Plus,
know.
you're a Reiki master.
I am a Reiki master and also a magnified healer.
Yes, that's right.
And
Beautiful.
and I enjoy everything about the spiritual life. It's a good way to go.
Very good. I'm going to introduce our next guest.
We'll say my name.
All right, I will say it.
Go ahead.
Stephen Popiotek.
Even though it's not spelled that way.
Cool.
No,
It's actually, the T is a Polish letter. It's like an L with a T crossbar, so it sounds like a W. So just imagine it's a W, so it'd be Popiotek, technically.
And what language is
Yeah,
that?
that's Polish.
Oh, Polish. There you go. All right, go ahead. Anyway,
It's
So
a pleasure
tell
to be
us
back again.
about you.
Yeah, on the new remade, on the rebranded Spiritual Journey TV.
yes.
yes. We're very good. Who am I again? It's
You know who you are.
I'm joking. I'm sorry.
He's Jesus.
No, gosh,
anyway,
stop.
Anyway, tell him who you are.
I've been involved in this field for longer than I like to say, put it that way, right? Cosmic shamanism is kind of a system I developed. I do channeling work, telepathic work, healing work with clients, help them tap into past lives, soul retrieval, especially with star people, star seeds, help them connect to their home world. So more of the galactic lens is a big part of my spiritual tradition. Kabbalah, Egyptian mysticism, grid work, discussions about aliens and all sorts of fun conspiracies as an additional array.
Plus, Stephen and
Remember,
I
get the
just
target
did a
here.
show about the full moon that's happening tonight, and we did a meditation. And let me tell you, I highly recommend watching that show because during the meditation, I felt like I wasn't even there. I felt like I went somewhere else and had to keep coming back. So it was, but when it was over with, I was so relaxed. It wasn't funny. It was really very relaxing meditation. It's a half hour long once we get into the meditation, but it's good stuff.
And you do twice a month, isn't it? Or is it once a month?
Oh, the group, usually the group meditations for new moon, full moon. I do it on Zoom as well as groups in person, depending upon where I'm at and what the weather looks like. But that ends up being a lot of grid work as well. And Christine is right, everybody should tune into that one. Because,
That's right.
Because right now we're also filming this today during the full moon in Taurus, and then I'll talk more about it as we go into the conversation with the galactics, because there were some strong Palladian presences that came in during meditation today.
You could feel that there was spirit there, definitely.
Yeah. All right, Stephen. Question for you. There has been a lot of rumbling about things behind the scene, like particularly the Anunnaki, okay, and the Archons and races like that have been on this earth, so probably from the beginning of time, directing everything. I mean, where do they fall into the way we have developed? Have we been developed by them, or are we a development of someone else?
Oh, definitely a combination, because we've had so many different various extraterrestrial groups come throughout all time and since humanity's inception, and they were involved in a lot of genetic projects and positive ones helping us evolve. and helping the planet as well, and the negative ones doing the opposite, trying to create more hybrids and more of a Frankenstein-like genetic programs in that sense, right? So that's been going on since beginning days. The Anunnaki, have been more popularized because they were during days of Sumeria when they were written about in terms of Sumerian mythology and the deities. They're originally from a planet, speaking of Taurus full moon, they're actually from the star system Aldebaran, which is the eye of the bull of Taurus. There's other planets there that are different, but that's one of their homeworlds. And Enlil, who's mentioned in the mythology as the leader of the Anunnaki, that's an accurate name. He still goes by that from what I've seen working with clients and connections and off-world past life memories as well. His group has been heavily involved through different stages of humanity. Modern days, they're still working. They were involved in the Montauk Project. Them, the reptilians, and a group from Sirius B were some of the hidden hands in some of the time travel programs. So they still, and some of the Illuminati bloodlines are involved with that as well. So his group is, but there were several Anunnaki that were talked about in mythology, like the goddess Ninti or Ninurta, Enki, and Marduk. They've all switched to the light side though. And you would be surprised how many of them are actually incarnated on a body right now, or are part of that. So I've worked on a lot of these reincarnated Anunnaki.
And how can you tell?
Yeah, well, I only knew because of the work I do with them individually at sessions.
Right.
I can track more of the lineage with that, and then also when I do the work, there's a certain amount of people that have had star people that have had what I call like infiltration lifetimes, where they were they were asked by their positive group that they came from. So imagine, say if they were Andromeda's like, hey, we need some volunteers to go incarnate and the reptilians and Anunnaki and XYZ group, because this is like a longer term deep cover assignment for positive light workers to be able to bring light to the dark collectives, but also be able to learn about their methodology, technology, tactics, because a lot of these wars are fought across time and space, so we need to have deep cover light workers who come in and out to be able to help infiltrate it from below, so to speak. And then the thing is that so many of us are reincarnated now who've had these lifetimes, and so these negative groups that are around, they're trying to target people like that first, because there's usually contracts a lot of times that weren't fully resolved or still open from those lives. Yeah. So, or they want to use more of a proxy and trying to like steer or shift your polarity. So I do a process with them where we have to go through it's like a room in their inner temple where we kind of feng shui and clean out the different dark symbols and malware from those lifetimes. So we close out that doorway and then repurpose it to connect them back to the original galactic lifetime that they volunteered from. So it's completing this full circle.
But can you tell like by features or anything like that? Aren't they slightly different than?
Well, if they had the DNA and their physical lineage, yeah. But people I work on, there would be some of them were so unassuming you would never think that at all.
But do they actually know what they are?
Oh, the ones I work with, they recognize and remember when we do the work. Yeah, it's not.
Because the thing, I was watching something. And
that's more soul-wise as opposed to genetic lineage.
It was saying that the Anunnaki and the fallen angels are kind of like intermittent, like they are of the same thing.
Well, the Nephilim, because in general, that's again, because problem is sometimes you have these terms that are also applied to
generalized
that are also living on the inner planes as opposed to living on the outer planes, or so, because angels are governing, whether angels or demons are present on different planets on the inner realms, on the inner planes, right? The place where you go to when you're dreaming and you're out of body, that's a reflection of the higher external dimensions, but it's on the internal realms. Think of kind of like a prism where you see the rainbow in colors in it, but then on the external level you have the rays of light shining through that. But it creates almost like a mirrored reflection of these higher realms on the inner planes. So it's almost like a as within, so without, as above, so below idea. So different planets have different angels and different demons if it's on the dark side, so to speak.
Is that different dimensional?
Well, because they're not in a physical form, right? So that's the point. But aliens and Anunnaki, they're in a physical body. Yeah. They start, and so are the majority of ETs. But they depending upon the dimension they're on, if they're evolving on the light side, in our dark, they can evolve past the physical body and they get more into their either positive light body or negative light body if you're going into the higher levels of it.
I'd like to ask a question because I've noticed this, and a lot of spiritual warriors that I know, many actually, have noticed the difference. That recently, I'm talking about like even within the past year, 6 months to a year, it isn't as chaotic on the other side as far as the negative warriors, the fallen angels, you know, because I know Tommy, he has told me that he experiences this. I'm sure you do. You know, at night you go to sleep, but you're in warfare. Now, it was really intense, especially about a year ago and 2 years ago, but I've noticed a difference. I've noticed a little bit of a calming, yeah. I'd like your opinion. Go ahead.
No, just finish what you're saying.
I would love your opinion on that.
I mean, for me, it's kind of like a bit of a roller coaster ride when it comes to those things, because we're still seeing. I mean, every one of my group meditations, the big ones, have turned into deconstructing these dark grids that are being put around the earth in the form of different negative geometry enclosures that are being put up by different negative ET groups pretty much every week or every 2 weeks. That we've seen has not changed, but because there have been so many things being done by the positive ET groups to counteract different negative groups,
Yes.
there has to be some level where you're going to feel differential going on there.
Yeah, I
But at the
feel
same time, they've also been, you know, really pushing the alien invasion scenario, still kind of grounding that energy to different people. Every day, literally, I'm still seeing people that are corded, energy cords and implants that are going out to different facilities, some extraterrestrial, other ones are hosted by defense contractors that are working with them.
Yeah.
And they're all plugged into, you know, electronic systems, and a lot of them are plugged into portals that are at the facilities.
Okay,
That-
when you say that, can you
Yeah.
explain to our audience
Yeah.
exactly what you mean?
Sure,
Please,
sure.
Stephen.
Yeah, it gets a little complicated with some
Yeah,
stuff
it
like that.
does.
Yeah. So we're all familiar with like energy cords, right? That can happen. Any energy
Right.
cords between people, partners, family, right? There are positive cords and there's negative cords. You know, the thing is that these are more the negative cords I'm talking about, and so they'll still target, say, someone's chakras or their points in their tree of life as it overlays the body, or other
The plug. you were
meridian
talking
points
about.
in the back of
Yeah.
the body that have to do with time. Calm time points, different areas. Yeah, can be, they find a lot of, any place they can find that interface, still do it. But usually there's specific things they're looking for to extract, and also depends on the person's own, you know, shields and on their weaknesses, on their vulnerabilities, on their shadow side. But there are themes I see with clients where a lot of people, 90% of the time, the past 2 years, they're either getting cords or implants in their crown and the root chakra. So those are big areas that are being targeted that I see on a regular basis. Which makes sense. They want to like disconnect
Cleared
people from
that
above,
today.
and
Yeah.
they want people to ground into
Makes
a lower
sense.
reality. But usually the energy cords, you know, that we're talking about, like usually higher, not just from beings or people, but they're connecting those energy astral cords, etheric cords, to actual technology that's physically present at a facility, at an underground base that either our military industrial complex has or the aliens have independently. Some of them are together, some are independent. But because a lot of these groups are working with defense contractors, you usually will find that they're being hosted. So when I do the work with clients, I remote review and track which group is involved, where the facility's at, and what aspects about the technology, the back doors to it. Because for me, that makes it easier to get rid of it with the client.
So,
you know.
is there ever any physical markings or anything like that?
Pain will usually be something that'll be accompanying them. Like, for example, there was one I had worked with recently, and first time client, and she was also at some people next door to her that were doing some dark magic, her neighbors, that were a longer battle going on. But they were doing dark magic against her, plus she had negative alien interference going on. And when I realized that she had one of these infiltration lifetimes, though, that we had to heal because it was a shadow she didn't know she had in
Yes.
the past. So I didn't know about where the pains were. I just saw, like, okay, so she had energetic shackles and chains and handcuffs on her wrists. And then she had like stuff on her head, like dark dirt stuff, different web energies. There was also other things from her negative ET life that were on her hand. So and a collar, really strong collars on her neck. So, and those ended up being some major points of stress for her. When we popped it off, she was freaking out because she was going for physical therapy for years for her wrists and her neck that were not improving. And we did one session, and she started feeling it all lift up, and she wasn't having pain there.
Oh,
and she was
that's
like tripping
beautiful.
out. So we realized it's such a deeper level of like, wow, this is a whole different cause than you would ever think it is.
Beautiful.
You know, so that's where it comes, like, you know, really nice to see the proof in the
That's
pudding.
wonderful,
Well, yeah.
right?
Well, you did my knee that time.
Yeah, that's very
Yeah,
that's
very
right.
rewarding.
So, you know, but other times, you know, things that go deeper if they go more. But when you have stuff like that where it's more on the surface and it's ready to pop, then that soul's ready to evolve past that limitation, right? So it's first about being accountable for where we have our own shadow, so we can heal and forgive ourselves and others involved, and then it's easier to build the boundaries against the external violators who are trying to siphon us.
You have to get through that first.
Yes, you have to be willing to face your own crap first.
Well, if you can't face it, then you can't heal it.
Exactly.
And
And others
that's
take
just
advantage
the
of
way that it is,
Yeah.
See,
right?
what I was hearing is that there's like 11 dimensions, you know, and these beings that are in these different dimensions are higher frequency than we are, and we are graduating out of this one to the 5th dimension, all right? But they're like, it's a concerted effort by these groups to keep the drones dumb,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and not let them get enlightened. And their purpose in this life is, I guess, of servitude to them, you know, and
That's what
we're
they
trying to make and that's why we get attacked. I get attacked all the time, you know, and I'm sure you do too, you know, you do.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
so,
it's all different like theaters of engagement too, right? And what you're doing and healing, like I said, so you have more shields and being able to nip them in the bud, because it's not just it's because also these aliens have given the humans more advanced technology. So I also find, you know, there's a lot of these military industrial complex people and different defense contractors and some intelligence agency special groups are using the technology and tweaking these mind control technologies to try to harness energy from people to limit their ability to move in time properly, to be able to shift out of the old timeline. So they're really trying to corral people
That's what they're doing.
into like a certain lower quantum state.
Good analogy.
I was
Yeah.
watching a thing. It was a documentary, and it was up in Alaska where HARP is.
Yeah.
All right. They said HARP no longer belongs to the government. Okay. All right. Then a private contractor bought it.
Hello.
Come on. You know, really? A private contractor bought it, and he's using it for a wonderful reason.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
Well, we also
they
had-
said that in Alaska, something like 16,000 people a year go missing.
I heard that.
All right,
Yes.
go missing,
Jesus.
and
I
they never
heard
find
that.
them.
Yes.
There's a lot of interdimensional
Yes.
portholes, you know, out there, and they have a lot of what do they call them? The submersibles. That are always under there.
USOs.
You know, and these people, they're in these little villages that they live in. You know, maybe about 20 houses in the whole town. Okay, and you see these things fly. I couldn't believe what I was watching there. I said, what? You know, and then when you hear those kind of numbers, it's like crazy.
Yeah, there's been a lot
That-
of wild abduction stories and different people being displaced in time and space over the years. I mean, there's so many facilities, you know, just across the country. But also speaking about the underwater submersibles, you know, I don't know if you watched. Did you watch the Congress UFO hearings 2 days ago? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I mean, we're still going drip, 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 right? You know, but at least we have, you know.
Drip. If that was blood that you needed, you would have been dead 20 times. Are you kidding?
Well said. Well said. Well said.
Well, I have a feeling that a lot of information
Yeah.
is going to be coming forth.
Yeah, it's-
I mean,
it's a tug of war.
astrologically, what you're talking about is a lot is coming to the surface. True?
I mean, this
You
is
in
the thing.
agreement?
They've also done a tighter lockdown in some ways because they know that has to happen. So it's a bit of this, like,
Trying
Yeah.
to slow it down.
well, especially with the presidential election going the way it did as well, they're also freaking out, panicking, and wanting to lock down House even more, which is, you know, because they understand that there are, you know, Trump is an interesting choice of individuals he's also choosing to put in power, which are going to be definitely. Even before I knew that, you know, the guy said this was going to be, you know, not like last time where he was, you know, playing both sides of the fence.
No,
This was
yeah.
going to be a more
that's the-
solid light energy coming in that's going to intervene against some of the negative alien invasion scenarios, because that was the big thing we were seeing was that.
This is interesting. Go ahead. I'm
Yeah, no,
listening.
that was a big one because that's. I think when was I showing the show last? Was that before the assassination attempt on Trump? Or was it right after?
I think it was right after the assassination attempt.
I think it was right after.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I talked about that. Yeah, okay. I forget sometimes what I talk about, right? So
You
Yours
can't.
too.
Well, there's a
look
lot.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
look
yeah,
at
yeah.
that 2 times.
Yeah.
You know, how can that not have been divinely directed?
Yeah. It was just that, but there was a whole group going on. Yeah, that basically that was what we psychically tracked was that it was a group in the Defense Intelligence Agency that has their secret space program, and that group is working. One of the ETs they work with is called the Amun group, and the Amun group, from the Egyptian, Amun was the black. I mean, when it's hidden. So they were the real black sun groups that were trying to usurp the power of Ra, and they weren't nothing to do with Amun. With Ra.
Yeah.
But this group is around, and they're from a planet in Cancer constellation, and we're seeing that they wanted this part of the DIA to take Trump out because they knew he was going to be an impediment to some of their plans. So they were doing like a little toy. They wanted to exchange more technology and kind of like bribing the DIA. Hey, get rid of him, then you're going to get our newest edition of toys.
Sure.
So they used a special technology they call partial walk-in technology to basically knock that individual conscious out of his body, and they had an agent that was out of body step into him, use him as a walk-in. So he was 100% patsy. That's why there was nothing
Does
on
that
him.
not appear
you
to
know.
be the case at our present time with our present, you know?
Well, oh yeah, I know what you're saying.
I mean, you
Well,
see
ooh,
rippling
I'm
of the
sorry.
skin back here on his neck.
Sorry.
Oh, that too. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
That's a good point. You know, so you brought it up, and
Yeah.
I've been wanting to ask you this.
Yeah.
So Trump is the one who brought in Space Force, right? So now you tell me what, it's kind of
You
echoing.
have to
Echo.
close the door. Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Sorry.
that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so Trump is the one who brought in Space Force, created that branch, okay,
Yeah.
of the military. So now that he's back, all right, do you feel that he'll be asking for more help from the aliens in order to, because I find it very interesting too that Elon Musk
Elon
is
Musk
on
is-
his team and was go ahead. So you know where I'm going with this. Go ahead. Explain it to us.
It's always complicated, right? And I'm going to be interested to see who actually ends up really in the positions that they are claiming to be yet, right?
SpaceX.
So yes, yeah. Well, to me, SpaceX and Elon Musk is kind of a joke. He's controlled that position to begin with in the beginning. And most of his funding came from the government. You know, all the satellite systems are also have backdoors for the military, which they admit to, being able to use the satellites. So it doesn't mean he's not doing some good stuff like with Twitter and trying to promote free speech. So of course, when you have these characters, you're going to have 50 shades of gray and light, so to speak. So there are going to be some good things he's done, and then other things he's waiting to do that are not good, and then there's other things he's doing that are just, of course, trying to warn against AI, but then he's building the Neuralink, and then it's like when I program people, and then so you have this constant back and forth theater going on. None of his technologies are advanced; they're all old technologies we've had for decades. They keep acting like it's brand new technology.
Well, a
but
lot of
it's
it's Tesla technology,
But
and it's
no,
not old
it's an insult
technology.
to Tesla. It's
It's
an insult.
It's an insult possibly, but it's also.
fake batteries that he
It's also
he
that-
stole
that-
his name so we couldn't find him on Google.
I understand that, but if you take the stuff that they stole after Nikola Tesla died,
Of course.
okay,
Yeah.
that's
The
the
military's
stuff-
been using
that's
that
what they're using now.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's no surprise to me. He was getting all that information.
No.
from
But the stuff he's using now is primitive. He's not even using it yet. He's just using chargeable batteries.
No, not him.
Oh, it's a Musk.
Talking about Tesla,
Oh, sorry, Musk. Yeah, I'm saying.
not the car guy.
Okay.
But Stephen,
Well, we're talking about Musk right now. So yeah. So,
I know. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So the thing is that with this other position he's being assigned for with this was it the Department of Government Accountability, which is it's funny because it's like the name of his virtual coin, like the Doja coin, right? So it's it's really comical too. It's like his virtual Bitcoin, same name as the agency. We'll see what happens with the other guy with Ramaswamy. I'm more interested to see his angle.
Yeah.
He feels more like it'll be interesting to see. But Musk feels like he'll do some good things and do some things that are not good because when I track him, well, also his girlfriend and his mom, they were all Satanists. Like there were a lot of videos, people showing this stuff about the dark cults his mom and his girlfriend belonged to. His girlfriend and
Really?
and oh my God, horrible stuff, yeah. So energetically, he puts on a good show and tries to put a little cover story on. But I track his energy being connected to the Temple of Set people and Set group from Orion, which we've talked about before in other shows.
yeah.
So he's really on a secret level pushing for a dark Set and invasion timeline. But he's going to do some good stuff. I was seeing a 60-40 percentage with Trump, with him and Trump, that he would do 60% against his position and 40% pro. So it's kind of like Illuminati, where you have to have where they want to fund both sides of a conflict, and then ultimately they're the ones who are controlling the outcome if they can do that. Yeah. So it's a bit of this idea. So it doesn't. But I'm more hopeful with other picks that Trump has had, like with Tulsi Gabbard being the director of National Intelligence.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a beautiful vindication.
Yes.
RFK
What do you
being
think
the
about
Health Human Services.
Tulsi?
About what?
There's a lot of
Tulsi.
interesting things. We've got chessboard pieces lining up for him to take real action. But Space Force, again, these are branches where it could be like, hopefully he'll use it to his advantage to be able to extrapolate real support and be like, we don't consent to these negative alien treaties. But because I don't think he's not aligned to that. But so many power structures in our deep state are lined up to that.
Because
So that's
there's
why
a
it's
lot
going to be a
of-
showdown going on over the next few years about that.
Well,
which
they're
is really
all part of the
intense. Yeah.
shadow government, you might say. If you think that a president or emir or anybody like that really calls the shots, they do not call the shots.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's also why it's important to
All
try to
the
get
shots
conscious
that, yeah,
picks.
all
That
the
could be
shots
interesting.
that come out of here come out of Davos in Switzerland. Okay, that is the headquarters, right there. All right, everything comes by them. They call the shots.
I wouldn't say everything, but definitely there's
Most of it.
definitely a big influence. I mean, Switzerland
Absolutely.
itself as a whole. I mean, the whole Swiss mountains are like Swiss cheese.
They're
and
hollow.
Underground bases. I mean, you know.
They're hollow.
And the negative alien bases in Switzerland that the Swiss
My
government's
friend,
working
my
with.
friend Mike
They
was
dig
there. His
them out?
family's up there, is in Switzerland.
hollow?
All right, and he says all you hear is blasting,
Yes.
and nothing moves.
I guess that's it.
You know, if you put a seismometer in the ground, you think they're having earthquakes all day long. They're
yeah.
blowing up things under there.
Building more and more tunnels.
Yeah.
I saw that back in the year 2000. I was there and I stopped by a mountain.
Oh, you went to Dallas?
Well, no, I went to
tunnels.
Switzerland. I had a cousin out there.
Okay.
And when I was stopping by the Swiss Alps, because it looked so beautiful, you know, and then I heard explosions. Boom, boom, boom. I was like, what the hell's going on?
That's right.
And then looks a bit, but then I started meditating there, and the guy is like, I'm being raped. I'm being raped. I'm like, what the hell? And like Mother Earth was so upset because
That's
these are
right.
some powerful vortexes there that are being abused by these government people, military people, to create this whole network of, you know. There's publicly admitted bases the Swiss government talks about that they made for, you know, theoretical, you know, if there's a World War III, they can make sure their millions of citizens could have a place to live and food storage there. So you have that level of like basic facilities, and you have other facilities that are more Illuminati, New World Order, straight out of like, you know, James Bond type movie that's literally there, you know, but with Temple the Set group and their Illuminati space programs. So it's a lot, and the Swiss banking industry, of course, is all part of that Illuminati control grid, you know.
That set group you're talking about, who do they align with as far as being, you know, from way out there?
Well, Set for the Egyptian mythology. We've talked about Set so many times in the show
I
too.
know,
For people. But yeah, he was a negative deity from the Egyptian mythology, or Set or Sutek was the original Egyptian name. He's the one that killed Osiris and was one of the principal dark figures, along with Apophis, who was a negative serpent
What
deity.
about that?
No, Thoth is positive. So Set himself, he's one of the highest like dark individual beings. He went up to, if you're using the Law of One terminology, Law of One books, he would be on the sixth dimensional level, the highest the dark can go. So he's kind of like the leader of his own galactic dark empire, which is based in Orion, and the Saif star system specifically. Orion has a lot of beautiful, positive civilizations all around it.
That's what I was looking at you like that.
But Saif star system is the headquarters, and every planet in that star system is a different negative ET group that is allied with Set group. So you have a whole freak show in that star system that would be like the real Empire, Star Wars type stuff, you know?
But in the universe, you have negative, you have positive. So it isn't all negative.
Oh, no. The light definitely outnumbers the dark like 10 to 1 from what even what Rob book said.
Oh, that's
But,
good.
Yeah. It's just the dark can be more proactive and organized on a lower level and make a lot more fuss. It's like, you know, having a disruptive pupil in a classroom of 30 kids. One kid can go and create chaos for the rest of the class.
Yeah,
so that's a bit, unless you discipline that kid. So it's a bit of the same idea. You have a small group, so they really have a lot of agendas going on simultaneously, and you have to keep them in check or try to see what's going on. So, you know, and so that's group. So yeah, so that's also where like the grays, like the negative gray ETs have a planet there. There's also a dark spider ET group that's been coming up again. He controls a lot of these negative spider entities that are really disgusting, but they're actually one of the most disgusting ET groups I've seen. Is like a negative spider humanoid ET group that's dark.
Oh.
And
It's humanoid?
Yeah, really disgusting.
Yeah, that's
and,
what I was going to ask you.
they're actually one of the facilities I distracted because 2 clients this week were getting cords in their body from a facility in New Jersey, in Trenton, New Jersey area.
Oh, that's nice.
At a Raytheon base.
Raytheon, you just coming to me.
Raytheon works with the creepiest negative ET groups, especially with Set Group and all those allies. So there's one there, and there's actually one in Las Vegas area that they have. So one in Vegas area and one.
Don't tell me that.
in
My
Trenton.
daughter's in Las Vegas right now.
Oh, Las Vegas has several different negative government ET bases that are there in the whole area. Like
Don't worry,
they build facilities.
Venetian, it's Italian. They'll take
Underneath
care
the
of- they'll take
casinos,
care of
they
them.
have facilities underneath the casinos. Some of them, you know. They have-
Wonderful.
Well, they had the
Aside from Area 51-4 and DOE facilities, but there's literally stuff underground there. There was one scientist friend years ago who left the country because he was blacklisted for exposing stuff. But anyway, one of his friends actually was invited to work at one of these smaller defense contractors that actually was in Las Vegas. You have to access it to an elevator in the parking lot of a casino. And there's a secret facility underground
What
there.
casino?
I don't know. I don't know. Now it's like multiple.
I know, we can't.
away from
Anyway.
Now it's like multiple.
I don't want to say anything,
You're
but
over
that
there
pyramid
like-
thing looks pretty suspicious.
Oh my gosh. I
You
know.
know?
He was let in there. We're talking like this is back in the 90s or something. And there's a smaller defense contract that's now been bought up by another group. But they wanted him to work there, and he said he walked in there and he saw advanced like quantum computer, holographic, photonic light computers that were not even anywhere near being developed now, but they've had them for decades in the secret facilities. And they saw like, you know, the scientists were living there, cafeteria, dormitory, all underground. He goes, well, if I accept this job, I'm not going to be let out too much. So he declined, he declined the position, but the recruiter was so pissed off and was shocked. He goes, we'll let you live. But he goes, but you're going to be blacklisted. You won't be able to work any scientific job in this country now because you turn us down. This is how they work. This is how they literally do that.
And then if he ever went and said anything, people would think he's crazy
Or
anyway.
they would, or think about,
They make other
Right?
people
That was
do-
one example of a small defense
Well, they
contractor.
use
doing
the
that.
media like a tool.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah, we've just recently
You know,
seen that, right?
like I've
Which
said
it's
1,000
been
times.
exposed.
You go
Well,
over there-
at least in the
It's exposed.
At least in the UFO hearings, this came up. They were reaffirming what David Grush said last year about how the defense contractors and these special access programs are the main, big culprit of keeping all the reverse engineered alien spaceships and the bodies, keeping all that stuff in secret and harassing all the witnesses that are trying to come forth in the regular government. So at least they're pointing the finger towards some of the key figures, and they actually mentioned Lockheed too briefly. It was funny in there.
Lockheed,
'cause
Raytheon.
they're involved in all that
These are
stuff.
all household names of the
Yeah.
alien.
Yeah, exactly. They all have
You
their own
know,
divisions.
can I tell you though, I feel it with every ounce of my being that there's going to be a lot that's going to be coming up.
Yep.
I'm talking about especially even the first half of 2025. It's amazing what's going to come to the surface. You agree with me on that?
Well, it's also interesting because for me,
because astrologically,
tell us
no,
also.
astrologically, I see that because of so many things that have occurred here, such as, we're talking about the moon right now. Yes, of course, that's the
Pluto return too, right?
Taurus and the Pluto. This is, yes. And we will not see Pluto in Capricorn again in our lifetimes. Never, ever again.
Thank God.
I know, you and me both, baby, because I have a major aspect of Capricorn in my stars. You do too.
Pluto's a
okay?
dog.
I do.
And it was a Pluto,
Pluto's
and it
a
was in
dog.
opposition to you, kiddo. So, I mean, what I'm saying here is, yeah, thank God.
Although
you
now-
know?
now it's
but
gonna
now
be-
we have Aquarius, right?
It's going to be going
But-
more closer to my
But
Mars, though. Huh?
everything's going to be coming. Everything's going to be coming up to the surface.
they're saying that-
And I'm just telling you. And plus, on another level, I feel it.
Yes,
I really
yes.
do. Especially through June of this year, it's going to start, and then it's just going to keep on rolling.
That's
What it would-
interesting.
yeah.
You're saying that too because one of the
Why?
reasons,
Go
I
ahead.
went to the Philippines recently was
I
was a
know.
month before I went to the Philippines. I was in Saint Martin. I think that was the last time I saw you guys when I came out
Yeah,
from that
yeah,
show.
yeah.
from the
Lucky
island, from the
guy.
island.
You
St. Martin, yeah.
St. Martin.
So yeah, so whether there's some powerful vortexes, some ancient Atlantean temple stuff that's hidden there from the temple of the moon goddess Selene, and but there's also some powerful crystals that are there. And I was communicating with these positive Atlantean, what they call Atlantean Starheart dragon spirits that are there. There were guardian dragon spirits. They're positive, and there was a huge gathering going on deep in the mantle underneath there. And I was like, "What's going on in here?" And so they're preparing at like 12 locations to assist these new waves of energy that are going to be coming from the core of the Earth that are also connected to these higher phoenix, sunbird spirit beings that are some of the multidimensional, some from the sun, some from other star systems, or like bird humanoid beings that are there, and they're helping Gaia's core, which is actually a super condensed plasma, to get to the next level, to release this next wave of energy that's going to be coming out as spiral vortexes starting next spring,
That's
April,
what-
May
that's
time
what-
frame,
yeah.
and then that's another wave in the fall, like
That's what I was
October
going to
time
say to
frame.
you. That's what I was
So-
going to say to you.
Just keep feeling
That's-
it, and then
It's
even
like
astrologically,
That cyclonic thing.
what I'm seeing.
It's like they're running a Merkaba through it.
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying, and stuff like that. Gaia has them all on board now to
Try to really push it out. Yeah.
I think there's going to be a giant purge. I really
Well,
do.
it's going to be some big shifts, but too, because
gonna be a
even they were
purge.
saying,
Yeah.
even where I was at, they were saying there's probably going to be some bigger earthquakes and volcano activity in like Manila area because it's like, and even when I was there, I was doing activation and like Bohol, which is where they call Chocolate Hills, and people look up Chocolate Hills. It's a funny name, but there are all these mounds, beautiful mounds, like 1,700 mounds on this one island area. Of course, it's natural, it's-
Yeah, okay.
Jesus Christ, come on, people. Of course, meanwhile, in Indonesia, next country, we have, some of the largest pyramids in history have been found there. So it's like, yeah, it's natural.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful mountains, and so
They say the largest one is in Mexico. The largest
now
pyramid.
this one was one of the largest, oldest ones. I think was in Indonesia now. But so the point is over here in these Chocolate Hills that I couldn't. Most of them have a special kind of shrubbery weed that grows on it, so you can't really climb up most of them because it's all covered with such dense shrubbery. There's one that's a touristy spot where the tourists go to, that where they built the center on top of it, and you go up to take pretty pictures, But there's not really much energy there because it's still the
I
design
saw
that way.
those beautiful pictures on Facebook.
I posted it on my
that
Facebook
you,
wall,
oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
goodness! I asked
But
you
then
in the
I
hall.
got a
said,
chance to go on one of them.
because I kept thinking,
Yeah.
when
You
are
went
you
into the
coming
jungle?
back?
No, I got a chance to go on one of the other mounds.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, because
Tell us.
I knew that guys like, we have to get on the mount. Like, I need to be on the mount to channel properly the energy. I'm like, I'm not sure how's it going to manifest because A, the government says you're not supposed to go on the mounds. You know, and B, it's not practical because they're all covered with the shrubbery, and there's only one that we know that was open. But then I found out since the point there's actually 2 mounds that are accessible, and by local people who own them. But there was one I found out about. I was going through different tour guides trying to find out if anybody knew about it, and I think it was like a dozen of them before one even heard a story about it, and he learned about it from another tourist, and so we went. And ironic part was that from that mound we could see the one that the tourists go to on the other side, but you have to go through like a farmer's field there, and there was a big what do you call those animals? It's not like a cow bull, but it's another one they call it. They use it to like pull the rice field over the rice plows.
The ox. It's an ox.
It's like an ox type thing, yeah. So it's 2 of them guarding the entrance of the pathway going up the hill, which is really cute. They're really sweet. So I got up there, and it was so incredible being on top of there. And but that farmer, he got a path. He made a path up that mound that you could walk. And then after that, I found out there was a second one.
What would you say the elevation is on that?
No, they're different. They range from
like mound like 20 feet or
no, they range anywhere from like 90 feet to 300 feet tall.
And what did you feel?
And height.
It's a lot of energy.
Oh
tell us.
yeah. No, and
What'd you experience?
I felt it even more during like the second time. during the second time, especially when I went back there with somebody and we were doing some more activations. But I felt the most because the most energy I felt was actually galactic Egyptian energies coming over there. I was like, wow, I wasn't expecting all this Egyptian goddess energy over the Philippines. But then the original channeling before I got there, I'd seen years ago out of body in dream plane, was that there were ancient ripples from ancient solar cultures and time that converged over part of the Philippines. So it was like energetically in the sky, there were like windows in time to ancient solar civilizations, which is a trippy thing even to conceptualize.
Frozen in time?
No. They alternate. It's like you go different points you can access to Egypt or Aztecs, Mayans. There were like ripples in time.
So ripples in time.
Ripples in time that converge.
Isn't there a book named Ripples in Time?
Oh yeah. Well, they're like dropping rocks in a pool and you make how the ripples concentrically interact with each other. It's something like that.
Cool.
And then they were showing me that the phoenixes were going to gathering underneath in the core, and that's part of the Philippines was one of 7 locations where that new energy is coming out of, and starting next spring. So I was going there to do like
So this is the latest hotspot.
Free like recon work, and so then they had me, and then it's a big surprise when I got there first. I got blasted out of body first night, and I was seeing a hidden. It was a solar temple of God that's literally in part of the mantle underneath part of the Philippines, like these giant crystalline pillars with phoenix energies in them, and I'm walking in there, and then part of that called a dream out of body, and I'm like crying out to the Creator. I'm saying, I am part of this crystalline phoenix pillar. I want to return to that. And I stepped into one of the pillars, and it was like, oh my God, it blew me away. Woke up with like electric shocks down my whole body, and I was like, this is really intense. And it took a while to even connect with electric fields better because there was a lot of electrical stuff going on, and some blocks I had to clear from New York because they were really up my ass before I left to go there. Wow. So that when I realized that, I'm like, oh, this is why there's all this solar temple stuff, because there's a direct connection to like the solar logos energy underneath this part of the Philippines, which was like really wild even to think about it. So they had me do a lot of work to build a bridge between the solar temple and those mounds because there was big gaps. So a lot of the Illyrian group, which we talked about before, they're the positive lion humanoid galactic ET group, that's like the Sekhmet energy.
They're showing me right now.
They were coming in to create pillars of light through all the mounds, and to expand the pillars of light in the center of the mound, and then they were bringing in that like the priestesses we dealt with on Christine's show today, the Palladian priestesses, Palladian Starheart priestesses of Ma'at, the goddess Ma'at of balance and truth and justice. They were coming in to bring the higher galactic eye symbol of Ma'at and Eye of Sekhmet into the mound.
Is that the eye you see on a dollar bill?
No, that's the positive eye I'm talking about.
I love those ladies.
The female eyes, and that's where Eye is, that stuff. So they were creating a whole, think of almost like a Lego set or like a jigsaw puzzle, where these pillars and orbs that were interlocking to create like a scaffolding structure that could fill in the gap, like Jacob's ladder, bringing ladders of light going all the way down to the mantle. And that was like really intense when they were coming with that. So, and then I told the person with me that they're going to make more earthquakes from this because they were widening the pillars and they need to shake up the ground more. And literally half an hour after we're done, a 5.1 earthquake hit at the point that was a triangulation to where we were at in the previous location. And I was like, oh, this is a small sign, but this is a bigger one's going to come.
Oh, that's validation for you that that's going to happen.
There's been so many earthquakes.
I wanted to ask you something we were talking about before with Pluto. All right?
Yeah.
There is a merging of another solar system coming into ours, from what I've been getting told. and it's supposed to, like, you know, we have a planet X, you know, that's
Oh,
matter of-
yeah.
but there is another, the planets are showing up that didn't show up before because we have the technology now to see them,
Oh, well,
okay? And it's like another, it's a smaller universe than ours, but it's supposedly moving in.
small solar system, you mean? That's
A
good.
solar system going to merge somewhat with ours.
Oh, well, I haven't seen that one yet.
So, you know, I'm hearing
Not
this.
going to
and
be
I
any crashes are
No, I
there.
don't know about you.
No, no,
I haven't seen
not that I know of. You know, who's going to say what's going to happen with another solar system? coming in,
Exactly.
you know? They could be in that whole thing. Maybe there's another planet like Earth.
Speaking
Yeah.
of the earthquake,
I've not,
Wait.
no idea about that one.
Well-
I've just seen more of that gas cloud that our solar system is going through. They call like the local bubble, big plasma, you know, bubble of energy.
Is it getting big or is it getting small?
Well, no. Back in I remember back in '90s there were reports about it. Then all of a sudden it disappeared. We heard nothing about it again. Then now it's coming back up again because new satellites have measured some really cool stuff going on in this big plasma clouds and how it's not well. Back in '90s, her name was Priscilla Frisch, astrophysicist, University of Chicago. She put out really good stuff early on that made mainstream, but then they kind of pushed it under. She was saying that we're entering a giant plasma gas cloud and we're going to be going through it for the next 2,000 years, solar system wise, and that there were certain areas of the plasma cloud that could be very dense, but we wouldn't know it till we're there. And they modeled whole areas of what could happen if we're in a denser plasma area that kind of matches up to what we've been seeing since the 90s that are happening on our solar system, where different NASA, will point out different things happening on the outer planets, where there were definitely things happening with pole shifts on other planets. There were different things happening from each of the outer planets going towards the Earth, and they're saying this is actually really because of this gas cloud that can trigger magnetic pole shifts and opening up of the magnetic envelope
the kind
to
of
let more
gas-
gamma rays in, which is part of our evolution. Is more of the gamma rays
Is it-
and sun energy and central sun energy coming in.
You're
Is-
always
is-
talking
is-
about the pole shift.
That,
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, more than magnetic pole shift as opposed to physical.
What we're talking about with the
But recently, the article came out
cloud,
last
yeah.
week where they were mapping out the gas cloud not only around our solar system, but they're saying that's part of a larger network of super bubbles that are going all the way out. We're talking about speaking of Orion and different areas, so, and that they mapped out a tunnel of hot gas that is literally an interstellar tunnel of hot gas carved out in the cooler plasma that goes from our solar system out to Centaurus, out to Alpha Centauri, the constellation.
Are they doing that
And-
to us?
and-
Are they sending that to us?
Well, this is part of what I talked about years ago when we did the grid work galactically, that we refer to that as these star heart meridian corridors.
Yeah, yeah.
And think about it, so astronomically, some of the metaphysical terminology finds reflection. So it's like they're corridors on a higher dimensional level, but they have a physical manifestation that we can perceive now being actually mapped out. And they're saying there's a whole, they're saying that there could be a whole giant tunnel network in this larger galactic web of gas clouds that connect together. Which I'm like, yes, that's a beautiful part of it. You know, it's
Well,
a star heart
meridians
web.
is a perfect term for
Yeah.
that.
Well,
Yes.
yeah.
What was Christine wanted
well, I
to
was
ask
going
some
to talk
about the
about the earthquakes because it's my understanding that when an earthquake happens, there are platelets, like under the ocean and stuff
Plates,
like
tectonic
that,
plates.
that move and cause the earthquakes.
Yeah.
And so, what does that have to do with these earthquakes you're talking about?
Well, Philippines is also in the Ring of Fire, right? So you have that whole area. And when a friend of mine was doing more research with another guy, Dutch Sense is his name on YouTube. He's one of the best guys on like predicting earthquakes. He's been predicting it for so many years. We're mapping him out because he came up with a better understanding of how the earthquakes travel and the number of days it takes if you have a ripple effect going on one area. And he's saying that most of them start from deep inside the earth and arc out. And that one of the places that they arc out from is actually, I found out afterwards, and came back, was actually in the Philippines area in the Ring of Fire. Then it arcs out from there to other locations. There's one of the big hotspots. So it makes sense that there's a deeper core connection that when you have this kundalini, like our spine, chiropractic adjustment with your energy moving, it's like Gaia's, her expansion of her body is doing the same thing where she needs to shake and quake to be able to make more room for the new energies. And if there's too much negativity,
Makes sense,
she may need
right?
to shake some more to
Yeah.
clear out her field. But if we do the energy clearing with it, we can minimize the level
damage.
of damage by saying, okay, we can help her clear it out and call in the positivities to clean out, because there's been a lot of stuff we've seen
like
over
a-
the years
it's
of
like
dark
a-
groups putting negative stuff in the earth to try to block that energy.
I've seen the energy
Well,
come up a
with my,
spiral, like a spiral.
Yes.
With my
yes.
magnified healing, one of the things we do is send energy to the platelets,
The plates, tectonic plates.
tectonic plates, to let them, avoid earthquakes, to make them move that they're not going to be moving around so much to cause the earthquakes.
Yeah, it's you have to kind of surrender it, be like put the intention to help it heal, but also intervene where you can, and then hope for the best after that point. It's like, this Gaia knows what she needs to do too. So it's a bit of like, we don't want to overly impose our will on it, but we want to create space so she can have another outlet to loosen up and transmute. That's the idea.
Well,
too.
now that
She's
you-
really
now-
been loosening up for
Oh,
sure.
yeah, she needs to be. 'Cause there's so much
Yeah,
crap on
every
here.
time I turn around, there's a notice on my phone that there was another. You get that too?
I mean, aside from the real ones, of
earthquakes.
course, we
Oh,
have
I
weather
don't get
engineering doing
that.
fake.
Oh, yeah.
We have both going on, right? There's real earthquakes and there's weather engineering. So you have
I
to
get
kind of see which is which.
I get
Yeah.
the U.S. Geological, and it comes up all the time, earthquake here. And a lot of times it is around the Ring of Fire. But is there anywhere else that energy-wise, other than the Philippines, that you have to go to?
Oh, I mean, physically go to right now. I mean, I plan to go back to the Philippines during that high point when that wave is coming out for next April, May. And then go to back to St. Martin the following October, maybe take a group there because that's where the big wave's going to hit over here. Will be in October.
I love St. Martin.
So yeah, they'll be good.
Is it still going to be here after this is over?
I'm
Yeah,
not
of
been
course,
there.
of course.
Beautiful.
One interesting thing is that one of the other 7 spots for that Phoenix energy coming out of the core is in a location that's a very hot spot now in general. It's in Israel. And one of the mountains there, what do they call it? It looks almost like Sedona. It's a big red mountain. It's
Yeah.
Starts with an M.
It's funny you said that. I'm hearing shofars in my head.
Oh, nice.
What is that?
Yeah, no, because there's a powerful light vortex, but it's also in exact contrast to the shadow group and Netanyahu's big boys club of the Maccabees. They're working with secretly working with the Amun group, the Black Sun group. And the first thing that Black Sun deities did was try to block out the sun. You know, it was about eclipsing and blocking the sunlight now with the geoengineering sprays. So now, you know, you have this idea of all this sacrifice going on still with all the people being killed in Palestine and the war. You know, we talked about before that this faction of Netanyahu's group really wants to make a bigger war so they can destroy the temple and rebuild it, but they want to really rebuild it secretly in the name of Amun instead of the real Messiah. So it's really this antichrist agenda going on in that sense. And so where this great, beautiful Phoenix Christ light wants to come out, you have the dark groups creating death and chaos.
Is that headed by Netanyahu?
Well, he's not the head of it, but he's part of that, you know, that particular,
that
because
group.
it's part of the secret space program that branch of the Israeli government has. Remember a few years ago, people look up, what's his name, was it Hayim Ashed? He was that Israeli general who was like 80-something years old now. He wrote a book a couple years ago, and he came out mainstream. He was the head of the Israeli version of the Space Force. He was the Israeli general and head of their space division for 30 years. He came out publicly and said, oh, the U.S. and Israel have been working with aliens for decades. He said that the U.S. has bases on Mars and the Moon, working with the aliens, and that the U.S. has treaties with the aliens, giving them permission to experiment on the public. He said that in all the mainstream media. Everybody covered it, then they all forgot about it. And he said that Trump was supposed to
Then
release
they
it the
all
first
forgot
time.
about it. I wonder
Yeah.
why they all forgot
Exactly.
about it. How did that
Exactly.
They
happen?
probably got the memo.
Exactly. They were like,
not
what do we do with this,
told
guys?
them.
That's the highest ranking disclosure official ever to come out that we've seen so far up until the recent stuff with the generals. So the point is, you put that in perspective, you start to frame the narrative of what's happening a little differently. Because if you accept A as being true, then you have to reinterpret the facts B, C under that new framework. Because otherwise you're missing data points, then you're getting improper, you know, extrapolations, you know, that are oftentimes just feeding the propaganda machinery of the media, as opposed to saying what's the real or hidden truth behind it, right? So if they have this technology and they're working with these negative ETs, and so if they're doing another action, there's going to be multiple reasons why they're doing an action, you know,
It's all
to feed their
misdirection.
negative overlords, basically.
It's all misdirection, if you notice that.
That's the point.
They're drawing our attention to the media here, and they're doing this here.
But it's interesting the
Yeah,
fact that
that's
they're
what they're
trying to do the
doing.
opposite because of
Sure.
the whole, because it's such a powerful vortex there of many ancient days in Israel, that them doing the opposite is trying to pollute that new energy before it comes out. And same thing happening in the Midwest here too, you notice, because I've been noticing the past 2 years too, so many dark corporations and negative ET bases are forming and popping up in the Midwest, in Iowa, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Kansas, and this came up in the last
You
big
remember
group
who attacked my
meditation.
knee?
Yes, the AI base out in Kansas, yeah. And so the last group meditation, people can ask me to send it to them on Dropbox. We did it at the Obelisk in New York, Manhattan. There was a bigger channeling of Gaia that came in for like a big chunk of it. And they were showing me that the Midwest in Iowa, there's a beautiful vortex there that's trying to open up to be this new, like the harvest symbol of the Virgo and the heartland of America. Beautiful light wants to come out of there
Yes.
next year, but all these dark groups are trying to get ahead of the curve, and they're trying to be like leeches and ticks on it to see if they could put their negative
Parasites.
overlays on it to distort what's coming out. So we're doing more work
parasites.
to clean it out. So it's important to hold more prayers for the Midwest to be like, no, it's supposed to be a sanctuary of new light coming out from the core of the earth, Gaia's heart spotlight, and that Phoenix energy, not these other idiots that are trying to like block the heart and the sun. you know.
On an Achurian,
So that's deep. That's deeper. You know, yeah.
on an Achurian, what you call it? The thing that was getting some information on it.
Arcturian?
Yeah, they were saying something that there's the portholes. It goes, once we reach a certain, we ascend to, like, say, 5-day, whatever it is. All right, once we ascend there, we're going to be absolutely there's portholes all around us.
Portals, yeah.
But we're not at the frequency to be able to use them.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
you ain't going to be no need for automobiles anymore, or for planes or jets or flying saucers. You go right through these, you're there.
Oh, that level for transportation too, yeah.
You know.
Well, I still like to see the cool portal technology be fun. Yeah, they
like
have that in bases anyway.
It's like a bullet train on steroids,
Well, you walk through a door and you're on the other side. I mean, that's the technology they use in some of the secret bases anyway. That's how we go from the moon base.
Well,
to the
they
military
got
bases.
that.
They have it. Yeah,
They have it. We're not quite there yet.
Oh yeah, and even in the city, in Manhattan, there's one of the underground secret train they had so many years, like
For the president. Underneath
well, no, actually, but you believe the upper level MTA is using it. They're using it to go to New York to LA in 3 hours.
See, that's
It's
where
an underground
all
train
that's
design,
where all our money is going to fund the MTA.
Yeah, that's just,
I have never seen a group so mismanaged in my life.
I had two people who worked there, and one retired, and he confirmed that to me, that upper management was using that secret train system that the military normally uses to go out. And because they basically built a command center and a shelter right over it on 54th Street, 354 West 54th Street. That's the entrance to the MTA command center. And right underneath it's the shelter. Right underneath that is the secret train shuttle that goes to LA 3 hours. So that's a side note. People take pictures there. It's a random side note, in fact,
Boy.
Yeah.
That's a nice place to go for a ride.
Yeah, exactly, right.
But
But this is what I did, that we have all this other technology that's being kept from the public. That's the point we're trying to make with that, and saying that so much of these other groups like Muscat, it's all old technology. We were so far ahead of that.
those mounds you were talking about,
Yeah.
are they part of the, say, the pyramid electrical grid?
Well, absolutely, and this is, that's why we're upgrading that whole area for that new Phoenix energy. And one of the positivity groups there that came right away to me, which I didn't realize they were there because I hadn't seen them in a long time, and they were like another Phoenix humanoid group that I originally knew was connected to the sun, but they were actually speaking about Arcturus, they're from the same constellation as Arcturus, from Boötes, but from Mu Boötes. Specifically, they're 6-dimensional, kind of like the Ra beings, but they're another Phoenix, Horus type of light humanoid beings that are there, and they have a base in that part of the Philippines. Secretly, they're a good base, obviously, and they've been secret stewards of that area. And and I was really excited because they were blasting me with a lot of energy before I got there too. And getting in there, I was like, oh wow, you guys are here, which is cool because I'm so used to tracking dark bases.
Were you picking this up as you were going?
No, not in flight. No, after I landed, they
No,
started.
because you remember one thing. You're in flight.
Yeah.
You're circling the Philippines.
Oh,
Where'd you land?
yeah.
In
Well, no,
Manila?
I came in the north side, yeah, and this is further south, or like middle. There's like in Visayas is where Bohol is at, not too far from Cebu.
I was just wondering if you were getting it from up there.
Oh yeah, no. Well, no. When I first landed, I got zapped, but then on the ferry boat going, because I have to take a ferry to there from Cebu, like a 2-hour ferry ride, and on the boat ride they start projecting. I mean, as soon as I landed there in the ferry boat, I could feel them. I got projections from some negative set group based in China, because China was also working with the set group, and they started projecting. China has been having beef with the Philippines, so they've been projecting some nasty stuff to people, and more so in the Manila area that I picked up on when I was there. And I'm like, oh, what is this idiot dark Chinese military? I'm like, I deal with enough with U.S. military idiots, projecting stuff. Like I deal with Chinese guys, but they're they all like to test their weapons out on their enemies in that sense.
That's what they do. That's what they do.
And because they're working with the set group,
Bothers me is that
Alien AI, China.
they do it to us, and they're our own.
Yeah.
So what is your advice?
Well, we only have like 3 or 4 minutes
Yeah,
left.
we have 2 minutes.
And vice versa is listen to
3.
my show with Christine we did today with Get the Better Full Moon Blessings of the Palladian Star Priestess is Ahmad, and also Arathena we talk about as the Blue Phoenix Priestesses in the
So watch
Pleiades.
these 2 shows
Watch
back
these 2
to
shows,
back,
yeah, exactly.
9:30.
Watch this one and then de-stress with the other one.
Spiritual Journey comes on at 9:30, and Spiritual Exploration comes on at 10:30.
Oh, I was wondering about the
So-
time difference. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait. Yours is who's yours first?
Yeah, they come on at
We come on at
9:30
9:30.
on 79 on Spectrum and 35
35
on
Files
On
Fios.
Fios.
And
Next
then
Fri-
my
next
show
Friday or
comes
when-
right
which
on
Friday?
back to back with
Starting-
this.
next Friday.
Next Friday.
Yeah, so my show comes on back to back with.
And then we'll have
This
you guys
show.
on YouTube before that, though, so we can take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they'll both be on
They'll be
YouTube.
on, they'll be on YouTube.
Exactly. Well, people want to join, like I said, find me on Facebook, Instagram. I'm technically gone, but I'm barely on there. But I'm more active on Facebook as well, or people can email me.
Well, you got your YouTube videos all over the place
I'm a
there.
YouTube channel, playlist tab, all interviews. my email is PSIjumper, PSIjumper@gmail, PSIjumper@gmail. Yeah, I do individual sessions.
You
Group
doing
work, you can join
quantum
in.
leaping anytime soon?
Exactly right. Yeah.
Okay, they're giving the
Staying local
signal.
right now.
All right, listen, we're getting the signal that we have less than 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I want to thank you
Get the popcorn
for
out.
being back on, and the door is always open here for you.
Thank you.
All right, and Christine, as always,
My pleasure.
a staple here, my kumbadi cheech,
That's right.
That's right.
and
Tommy showed
I
up.
love it.
Tommy showed up at my show one night and said, "I was told to see if you need help," and I said, "There's the camera, and we've been friends ever
I said,
since."
please, I want more. And she let me do it. And there you go.
Oh my God, so funny.
And that led to
Good stuff.
tuning into your angels, God's way, and now this.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
It's evolved very nicely.
Yes, it has. It
Very
has.
cool.
Well, like I said, always a pleasure to have these guests on. Always welcome to come back on at any time. Let me know when you back from country jumping.
Oh no, I'm here for the next few months. I'll be
All right,
leaving.
so
more
he's
than-
here.
I'll be leaving.
You're
late
going back
winter.
to the Philippines
Yeah,
again?
yeah. but
How
that-
long were you
roughly
in the
from March.
Philippines this last time?
6 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Supposed to be
know.
3
I
weeks,
kept
and I
wondering
extended
when
it.
you're
Did you,
coming
did you
back.
go to Bataan?
No.
No.
No,
Okay.
just to
There's going to be a lot of energy there from everybody who
Yeah.
was done there.
Yeah. That's a whole different story.
Thank you
everybody.
so much
Happy
for.
full moon in Taurus.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much,
Thank
Stephen,
you.
for
Okay,
coming
we're
and
done.
being
We're
our
done.
guest.
We're done. We're done.
Thank you,
All right.
Good
Christine.
night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
We're getting signals
Good
from the field
night.
out there. We're
Music
doing-
Happy
Maestro.
Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
I got
happy,
that
happy
too.
pre-Thanksgiving. Exactly right. Exactly.
Happy Thanksgiving. He'll be fatter next time you see him.
Love you all. Bye bye.
Many
Oh, keep on
blessings.
going. See, I told you a minute could be 5 minutes.
Oh, we have another. Okay.
Things are getting better, though, because we're all collectively raising our
Yeah.
vibration.
I was
We're
gonna
all
say
we
vibration.
do.
yes.
We have,
Anytime
to,
we
we have to keep that focus going, that compass going for sure.
Okay, they're telling us say bye.
Bye, everyone.
Love you all.
Good night. Thank you
night.
for watching.